Boy Under the Bed by Blake Hoena. Illustrated by Dave Bart. Mina, the vampire. Mina thinks people taste like dirty socks, so beet juice is her snack of choice. Its red color has fooled her parents into thinking that she's traditional blood-sucking vampire instead of a superhero hopeful. She has the ability to change into a bat or a mouse at will. Brian, the zombie. Brian is the brainy one amongst his friends. Unlike other zombies, Brian prefers tofu to brains. No matter what sort of trouble is brewing, Brian always comes up with a plan to save the day, like a true superhero. Will, the ghost. Will is quite shy. Luckily, he can turn invisible anytime he wants because he is a ghost. When Will is doing good deeds, he likes to remain unseen. His invisibility helps him act brave.
His invisibility helps him act
like a real superhero. Linda, the witch. With a wave of her wand and a poetic chant, Linda can reverse any magical curse. She hopes to use her magic to help people, just like a superhero would. Chapter 1. A Scary Dare.
Yawn.
Will moaned.
Time for bed.
He curled up in his blankets. Just as his eyes were about to close, something bumped and thumped under his bed. Ba-bump, thump, ba-bump, thump. What was that? Will whispered.
What was that?
He sat up and looked around, but he did not see anything strange or unusual.
But he didn't see any strange or unusual.
Must be my imagination.
Might be imagination,
he said.
Will
often imagined frightening things. Once, he dreamed that giant moths were trying to eat his sheet. Scary! Another time, he thought a wiggling blob of mayonnaise was about to fall on him.
Yawn.
Will moaned again. He lay back down in bed. Just as he closed his eyes, something rustled in his closet. Rustle, rustle, thud. Rustle, rustle, thud.
Who's there?
Will said as he sat up again. There was no reply. Will was no longer tired. Now he was afraid. Scary noises were coming from under his bed. Frightening sounds were coming from his closet. He did not know what to do. Just then, his bed began to bounce up and down. Bumpity bump bump thump. Just as he closed his eyes, something rustled. Will pulled his blankets tightly around him. He shook in fear. A moment later, he saw a hand, eyes, and a nose. A boy! A real human boy was hiding under Will's bed. Are you a ghost? The boy asked.
Yes?
Will replied. That's so cool! A shout came from his closet. A girl, a real human girl, was hiding in Will's closet. What are you doing here? Will asked them. Our friends said this house was haunted, the girl said. They dared us to sneak inside, the boy said. Chapter 2. A scarier sister.
You are lucky you didn't hide in my sister's room,
Will said. Is she a ghost too? The girl asked. We wouldn't be afraid, the boy said. Will shuddered.
Yes, you would, he said. She's not nice like me.
Will was a ghost who did not like to scare people. His friends actually tried to help people. They wanted to be like superheroes, not scary monsters.
My sister Dolly would scare you to death,
Will exclaimed. Just then, there was a knock at the door. Will, are you awake? Came an eerie voice.
It's my sister. Hide,
Will whispered. The boy squirmed back under the bed. The girl leaped back into the closet. Will picked up his phone. He texted one word to his friends. Help! Then he crawled back under his blankets.
Come in, Dolly,
he said. In walked a life-sized doll. It was his sister, Dolly. As she stood in the doorway, her head spun all the way around. I can't fall asleep, Dolly said. Can you please tell me a bedtime story?
Sure,
Will said.
What kind of story would you like me to tell you?
Dolly's head spun around as she thought about it. A story about scaring people, she said with a grin.
Okay,
Will said.
Once there was a boy hiding under a bed and a girl hiding in a closet.
Chapter 3. The Scariest Story. What happens next? Dolly asked. Do they get eaten?
No,
Will said. Just then, a bat fluttered through Will's window. It was Will's friend Mina, the vampire.
A bat flew into the room, Will continued. It flew all over the place.
As Will told his story, Mina swooped and whirled. She flew around and around the room. Dolly's head spun as she watched the bat. Psst, Linda called to Will from the window. Linda was a good witch. She held up her wand and waved it in the air. What happens next? Dolly asked.
There was a witch,
Will said,
who cast a spell.
Abracazir, abracazor, Linda quietly chanted. Your head will spin off and fall to the floor. Dolly continued to watch the bat fly around. Her head continued to spin around until it came loose and fell to the floor. Hey! Dolly shouted. As her head rolled out the door, her body chased after it. The plan is working, a whisper came from the window. She's been distracted. Will turned to see his friend Brian the zombie. "Out the window! Go!" Brian said to the boy and girl. Brian and Linda helped them crawl through the window. Then the boy and girl ran off into the night. For some reason, they weren't even scared. "Humans are strange," Brian said. Will leaned out the window to thank his friends. "You saved the day," Will said. "Just like real superheroes," Linda said. "Now what?" Mina asked.
"Yawn,"
Will moaned.
"Back to bed, I guess."